To complete the FireFly, we need to modify the foam inserts so that we can fit the FireFly and all the other components. There were 3 pieces of foam that we will use from the Apache 2800 case. The first was the top piece, which is a piece of egg crate foam. There's no modifications that happen to this, so I'm going to set it aside and we'll use it later. Next is the bottom piece. And there are drawings in the instructions that show you the cut lines for this, but basically we're just removing a center section to allow cables from the 15Q port to slide in here and hide comfortably, and also we'll bring in the wires from the switch and the power port and the antenna. You can actually remove a little bit more if needed once you start getting into the installation process. Finally, there is the top piece. There's a drawing for this in the instruction manual. It allows access for the 5 ports on each side, a little cutout here to hold everything in place, and then an area for your power supply for the power plate. Also, on the back side of this, we did remove a section half depth that we notched out, and this is to accommodate the cues that are on the back side of the case, so that when you put it there, there's no interference from the existing hardware. So let's go ahead and get the case and we will start the installation process. At this point, the case should be completely outfitted with the 15 port cues, the power switch, the power jack for the 12-volt power DC, and the external antenna. To start, I think it's easiest to actually turn the case on its back like this. Take the power port and the antenna port, and we'll put them up here underneath the handle to kind of hold it out of the way. You can get a piece of tape also. These things tend to flap around and make it a little bit difficult. So what I would start with is pull the cues forward, and we're going to actually start with Q15 and then work backwards, starting at the bottom row and then working upward. So go ahead and get your FireFly unit. The FireFly should already have the power cables for the switch installed, and then we will just simply start plugging in all of your cues. So this is Q15, 14, 13, and so on. Just go ahead and get them all in place. Make sure to get them in the right order. Okay, now that all the cues are plugged in, I'm going to just set the FireFly unit down on its face like this, and I'll insert the foam into the back end. So this is the bottom piece of foam, and you just simply kind of squish it around everything in there. Be careful not to tear the foam up, but there we go. It should fit fairly nicely. There might be a little bit of work around the switch if that wasn't put in. Go there. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn this upright. And I'm going to try and feed all of the cues into the slot, and then I'm going to go ahead and plug in the 12-volt power supply and then follow that up with the antenna. So just kind of fold everything in underneath. We need to plug this in since it is underneath everything. Yeah, where to go? Right here. Go ahead and get your antenna plugged in. And then I usually leave a loop in it. And then we'll go ahead and plug in the switch. On the switch, the black wire that's all by itself is the ground, and it's going to go onto the brass lug. The black wire should be the wire that is closest to the power port, and that will go on the middle lug. And then the red wire is the one that's closest to the battery, and it should go on the far outside lug. Finally, we will place the top piece of foam in. This is probably going to be the more difficult. You just got to make sure you move slowly so you don't rip it up. It's going to be really susceptible to tearing right here in the skinny areas. So I like to try and start with that area first. And it's going to be tight, so you got to compress everything just a little bit. There we go. I'll go ahead and take some time to straighten up all my cues to make them look nice and pretty. Alright, there we go. And then you'll be able to finish up by putting in your power supply and your antenna here. The one that comes with the kit is a half length 9 dB booster. It has the same booster gain that the really long antennas have, except for the long antennas are a full wavelength and this is a half wavelength. The one that came with the original unit was a quarter wavelength, was much smaller, but this should have the same amount of boost. I haven't tested it yet to see if I get the full range, but the areas that I have used it, I haven't reached the limit yet. So I usually shoot about 120 feet or so. Next, we'll just put on the labels and we're done. To insert the stickers, the ones that come with the kit actually have some square corners. We'll have to round those off a little bit with some scissors, and then this one we can just peel and stick. It doesn't take much to round it off, just a quick little, then you should be able to peel it. These stickers are printed on, it's just a printable vinyl, and then it has been coated with a clear vinyl to protect it so that it can withstand water and whatnot. And then for the front sticker, there's a removable plate that comes with the FireFly. I usually just pull that off, and then you can take this sticker and put it on its place, Actually, get it lined up right there. Then you can, there we go.